Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Duty's Daggers. We got a review today of the TRM Atom in textured titanium. Absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful knife that I am in love with. Oh, gosh. I'm so happy to have this. This is one of my most prized possessions now. I'm serious when I say that. But we're going to review it. I've done a cut test with it. This is not a safe queen. So let's get into it. Please subscribe to the channel. Go down there, look. You can just look and make sure you are subscribed. I'd appreciate it. And follow me on Instagram too. Duties_daggers if you'd like to do that. All right, let's measure this puppy. Actually, you know what? First, let's do I'm on a quick spiel on TRM. It stands for Three Rivers Manufacturing. They are a small USA-made knife manufacturer. They don't have a whole ton of models or designs. They have the Atom, the Shadow, the Neutron 2, which is a smaller version, kind of smaller version of the Atom here, the Nerd, and now they have a new design coming out, not out yet, that I forget what it's called. I believe that's it. It's the Atom, Shadow, Neutron, Nerd. I believe that's it. So there's 5 total, including the new one, I believe. If I'm forgetting one, let me know. But those are the main ones. This knife's been around for a little bit, but recently this was the first time that they had done this texturing on the titanium. It's the best texturing I've probably ever seen on titanium, period. I'm being serious. I absolutely love this pattern. But you can get this knife cheaper in different scale options, G10, micarta, carbon fiber. They sell a lot of scales on their website, and the scales are very easily swappable on these. Um, I don't know about this version since it's nested liners. It might be. But I know the regular version, you can easily pop the scales off. They just come off with the screws, I think. So you don't even have to take apart the whole knife to change the scales out. So they've got some really cool ones. Now, being a small manufacturer of knives, the volume of knives they come out with is not massive. It's nowhere near as much as like Spyderco or Benchmade or much larger production companies like that. So they're hard to get. They're popular when they do drop on their website, and I believe they only drop on their website. They don't send out knives to other retailers, I don't think. Um, they're gone pretty quick. So if you want one of these, you got to be fast. You got to know when the drops are. They always announce them on their Instagram and their website. So if you want one, just keep an eye out, and you will get one eventually. Just if you be patient. I was lucky enough to score this one. After I had bought my Shadow, I was just really immediately a big fan of TRM, and I soon after saw that these were available, and I just went for it. Had to sell a few knives to be able to afford it, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. I'm absolutely in love with these 2 knives, both of them. But this one's just over the top, amazingly beautiful. Um, we'll bring out the Shadow for a size comparison in a sec, but I want to finish what I'm saying here. Uh, their customer service has been really great. I've talked to their owner, Marianne, not a whole lot, just briefly. But they have a great warranty, USA made, really quality materials, quality heat treats on their blades. This 20 CV is top of the line of 20 CVs that I've tested. Their factory sharpness is unbelievable right out of the box. I don't think I've ever seen a sharper factory edge. It's just ridiculous. They're known for being very slicey blades, 0.08 inches on their blade stock thickness. They're just unbelievably slicey. Really, really huge TRM fan. And it took me a while to kind of get one. For a while, I was really trying to get the Shadow, and then I kind of gave up because it wasn't happening. And then I just randomly saw it available one day, and I just went for it. And I'm so happy that I did. So let's talk about the Atom here. Let's measure this puppy. It's a full-size knife for show. We have a 3 3/8 inch blade, almost 3.5. The handle is 4 5/8, And overall, we're looking at almost, well, it's probably like 8, well, almost exactly 8 inches. Like I said, blade stock thickness, whoops, dropped something. 0.08. Watch me be wrong. No, 0.08. Thickness behind the edge is a little thicker than you might think, for being how slicey it is, but they kind of keep it thicker behind the edge, I think, for strength. But it's not a huge, it doesn't keep it from being slicey because of the blade stock and the full flat grind. So we've got back here 20 thousandths, up here 20, well, 21. And then at the tip, looks like about 21 as well. So not like crazy thin behind the edge, but let me tell you, thin measurement behind the edge is only one factor in sliciness. There's a lot of factors, and thin blade stock is one of the one that matters the most in sliciness. So, the flat grind, the blade stock, and the 20 thousandths behind the edge all put together make this extremely slicey. And you can watch my cut test video on this and the shadow as well, to see it in action and see it just destroy everything it comes into contact with. Size comparisons. Let's get out the shadow one more time. A little bit longer than the shadow, but thinner this way, width-wise. Let's get out some button locks. Civivi Cubit and CJRB Pyrite. There you go. Let's do the Miguron Moyaro. And how about, I don't know, Cold Steel 8015? Why not? Kind of a random one, but it's out on the desk, so I might as well. How about some Spideys? Delica. And PM2, both Warney versions. It is just slightly shorter than the PM2. Pretty comparable to the PM2 in length. I have heard someone, or a few people compare this to the PM2. I don't really see, size really is the only similarity that I see. But. And that should do it with the size comparison. So let's talk about construction really quick. Like I said, this comes in a lot of versions, but this here is the textured titanium version with inset titanium liners. These liners are titanium. The hardware is, the pivot is stainless, but the body screws here are also titanium. And then we have a titanium clip and titanium thumb studs. So that cuts down on the weight, having titanium liners in there. They are full liners that are nested in there, which is real nice. I love me some nested liners. The texture here is just stunning. It's like a kind of a crisscross pattern that gets larger as you go up on the knife. Back here, it is very fine. It feels amazing all throughout. No sharp edges anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. These are contoured scales as well, which really kind of ups the difficulty of machining this by a lot. I don't even know how this is possible. Obviously they had to start with a very, very small end mill down here, and then I guess just took more passes as it gets up here to get these wider grooves, I guess. I don't even know, man. That's the only thing I can think of. They wouldn't change end mills in the middle of this, I wouldn't think. So I don't know how they did that, but it's freaking beautiful. Gosh, both sides just incredibly beautiful. We have an inset clip. Really, really nice to see that. I love this clip too. It really works well. Simple, not a milled clip, but I actually kind of prefer that on this knife because it just goes in and out of the pocket so good. Sometimes I'd say more often than not, titanium milled titanium clips don't really go in and out of the pocket super well, and they're usually not deep carry. So I kind of prefer this one on this knife. I think it fits the knife well. We have really good liner lock access, or lock bar access. We got a nice cutout here, and even some lines milled into that cutout as well. Kind of adds to it. Looks real good. We got little jimps cut into the lock bar here. I think that's more for kind of grip when you're holding it. Well, I don't know. It kind of does provide grip pushing it over as well. But there's such good access, you don't really need it to be able to push the lock bar over. But it's there. It's definitely not sharp or anything like that. It does not hurt my fingers one bit. Yeah, just real freaking nice, dude. 20 CV blade steel. Now the thumb studs here are a little different than your average thumb stud. There is a little groove, or kind of, yeah, it's kind of like a little groove milled around them so that you can put these O-rings on them. So you can see that's what it looks like without it on the right side there, and then with the O-ring on the other side. The reason there's no O-ring on this side is because that thumb stud is so close to the scale here that an O-ring would have disrupted that in there. It wouldn't have been able to close all the way. Now, having that thumb stud so close to the scale means that I can't reverse flick this knife. I have seen somebody do it, and I'm very curious how, because there's just no traction. You can't get behind it. Maybe they did put an O-ring on here and it actually worked. I don't know. But I'm fine just thumb flicking this baby. The thumb flick is fantastic. Really fantastic. It was fine without the O-ring too, but it's kind of just feels good. It's like a little cushion on your thumb. Gives you a little grip so you don't kind of want to slip off. It feels great. I honestly wish you could put O-rings on more thumb stud knives. But I've never seen anyone else do it besides TRM. I think that's a really cool idea. Let's see. Let's talk ergos. They're pretty freaking good. You know, it's a thin knife, and that's kind of one of its strong suits is it's thin, not only in the blade stock, but in the handle as well. So it just carries real nice in your pocket. But even being thin, it is real comfortable in hand. Before this came in the mail, I had never handled one before, and I always heard about how thin they were, and I was really hoping it wasn't too thin, you know, like Benchmade Narrow is thin. That's just not comfortable in hand. This though is perfect. It's perfectly thin while still being substantial enough to where it feels good. There's kind of two grips. You can choke back right here, kind of index finger and this little cutout, which is really comfy. You kind of have this wider spot in the handle, kind of, you know, right in your palm where you want it. And then you could choke up because we have a sharpening choil and a little cutout here for a choke up spot. So your pointer finger goes right in there. Your middle finger kind of goes in the slot. And it feels great, man. It really does feel great in both grips. I'd say back here is a little bit better though ergonomically, but you know me, I like to choke up, and it's plenty comfortable up here. I like how they took this little notch out of the scale right there, just to kind of make it more comfortable in the choke up spot. Just a little notch right there they took out. Isn't that cool? Very, very nice. Oh yeah. You can see the stop pin where it hits in the closed position, that little black mark on the tang right there. Right there. That's where the stop pin hits in the closed position. Right there. And that's totally fine. That's way back here out of the range in here in the sharpening choil, so that's totally good. Sharpening choil, plunge grind, real nice. Kind of a gradual slope up to the full thickness of the stock. We got the edge termination here, and then it starts to get thick right about right there. So you got from here all the way to here. That's your life of the blade. That's where you can sharpen away if you wanted to or needed to, and not get a weird spot in here where your edge bevel gets thick and weird looking. You would never sharpen away that much material probably ever in your entire life, so that's more than enough life, sharpening life for sure. Real nice stonewash on the blade. Not super reflective, kind of a muted sort of stonewash, but looks real nice. Real nice. Yeah. Edges on the spine are nicely knocked down. Not rounded, but just knocked down. Nice and comfy. I really like the blade on this too. Now, an interesting thing is the tip on the Atom here is actually lower than on the Shadow. Since the Shadow is kind of a sheep's footy blade, you would think that this has a lower tip. But if we line them up, pivot to pivot, handle to handle, as best we can, you can see the tip on the Atom is actually just a little bit lower than on the Shadow. So that means utility cutting is going to be even easier. Say this is the flat surface. You're really not raising your wrist up that high at all to get to your tip. You're already at it right there. Just bam, bam, bam. For comparison, a blade with a lot of belly, or some belly, like this, to get to the tip, you're all the way up here. See what I mean? The Shadow, you're right there, baby. Oh yeah. And this does great utility cutting too. Really nice. Great slicing too. I mean, I already said it, but this thing just destroys cardboard. It destroys rope. It destroys straps. Everything. Absolutely everything. Now the action. This knife is on washers. So no bearings here. As a result, you don't have a real drop shutty action. You can shake it shut if you really want to. And I do know that these things get very butter smooth over time. And it's already smoother. I actually had a slight bit of lock stick the first day I bought it. Or the first day that I had it. And it was literally gone by the next day. Which is so perfect. You know, you get it and it has a little bit of stick, so you know it's a real tight lockup. And then it just, whatever little burr was left on there, whatever, it wore itself out. And now it's just absolutely butter smooth pushing this lock bar over. Just no resistance whatsoever. The closing action, I usually do like this. I kind of push aside the lock bar. I'll push it down with my pointer finger, get my thumb, and just close it like that. Actually, it will drop to your thumb. It didn't do that at first, but now it will. So it is getting real smooth. But yeah, you could just let it fall to your thumb and then do it that way too. Real nice and smooth. The Shadow is the same on washers, but different locking mechanism here. So the D10 is perfect for the thumb flick. Oh, baby. Oh, it feels so good. I mean, yeah. You can't ask for better thumb stud action. You really can't. This thing's fun. You know, it's not drop shut. There's only one means of deployment, but it's fidgety somehow. It's just fun to kick that blade out and then just kind of slowly feel it hydraulically shut back down. It's nice, man. I'm telling you. Real nice. This knife feels like luxury. So the TRM Atom is a really fantastic. I think I kind of view the Atom as more of like a very good kind of day-to-day EDC knife, whereas the Shadow I view more as like a hard working knife. You know, we have a little bit better ergos on the Shadow. You know, with the more defined, comfortable choke up spot. You know, the real easy one-handed use with the crossbar lock. The Shadow here, it is super ergonomic, no hot spots, but it's a little bit less ergonomic than the Shadow. You know, a little bit of a pointier tip, and it's just kind of like a super elegant, you know, freaking EDC knife. I mean, you could put this to work though, absolutely. But between the two here, if I was like cutting cardboard all day for whatever reason, I would pick the Shadow. But both are just really, you know, they're just fantastic knives for really whatever you're doing. Also, the slow roll, I forgot to mention, is real nice. It just feels good, you know? Stick your thumb just right on top of the thumb stud. Roll her on out, baby. Oh, yeah. I love this design. The shadow was the one that initially caught my eye when I saw pictures of it. And, I saw pictures of this. I liked it fine, but it didn't grab me. And then I saw this textured titanium version, and I thought, wow, that texture is absolutely amazing. I need to have that. Um, but I still wasn't sure about the overall design until I got it in hand. As soon as I laid eyes on this thing, in person, I really understood the design and really have grown to absolutely love it. You get it in hand, you realize everything's purposeful, you know, um, everything's done just real nice. As far as the fit and finish, I mean, zero sharp edges anywhere. Um, it's just something that kind of really, really grew on me over time. Now, TRM says that they like to make knives that kind of remind you of like a river rock or river stone. Maybe a stone that you'd pick up out of the creek and want to skip, you know. And I totally get that feeling with the atom here. Just rounded, contoured. Um, Looks like it's been like tumbling around in a river for years. Um, I really get that feeling on this knife. So I think that's just a really cool. I don't think I've ever said this before, but I guess it makes sense to say right now. Design language. Oh man, I can't believe I said that. I vowed I would never say it. I don't like when people say that because I don't know. It's a pet peeve. Um, but the River Rock design language, I guess, makes sense. I do like that. I think it makes sense. It makes sense for the feeling of the knife. And very lastly, before we wrap up, I just wanted to say these TRM knives have a special feeling about them. Um, I don't know exactly what it is. It's probably a combination of a lot of things. But these knives just feel like they have a lot of care put into them. And it makes sense, They're made by a small team of devoted individuals who love knives. It just feels good to get something from a company like that rather than just some big manufacturer that's just pumping out knives and having robots do their edge bevels and it's just this feels more hand done. I can feel the hands that were on this knife. I've seen videos of people hand bending these clips, and it's just a lot of care was put into making these. You can just tell. You can tell as soon as you get it in hand and start looking at the details. You can tell, and it's really special. It feels great. So it's real nice to have a very quality knife that was made in your country that you were born in or live in. Um, it just feels good, It feels good to have something made by the U.S. It just does. So that's it. Please like the video before you head out, guys. Push the like button. And one more thing. The logo here is actually like etched into the surface, like down into the surface a ways. I'm not sure if it's like an electro etch thing they're doing with like an electrolyte compound, or if it's a laser. I don't think it's a laser. I think they do this the classic way, with like electrochemically etching it. Because if you look at like most logos, you don't feel it rubbing your finger over it. You might feel a little bit, but it's not like embedded into the surface of the blade. This is deep, deep in there, which is just really cool. It's just it kind of reinforces the feeling that it was handmade, and even these small letters are like way deep in there. So I don't know, just really cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I really love you, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.